Hello everyone! Using Excel documents is the easiest and fastest way to add data to your dossiers in MicroStrategy. In this video, we will see how to import this data and review the elements that we must take into account when doing so. Our first step will be to create a new dossier in MicroStrategy Workstation. For this, let's click on the symbol with the plus from the Dossiers tab. As we can see in the Datasets panel, there are three options to add information to our dossier. Today, we are going to focus only on the first option called New Data. Click on this option and we will find multiple connectors or data sources available. The second option, called File from Disk, allows us to import data from documents in Excel format or comma-separate values or in text formats, among others, that are stored on our computer. We click on this option and then click on Choose Files. Now, let's find our Excel file, which in my case is located in the desktop. We are going to select it and click Open. Our file is now ready, and in theory we could click Finish to start using the data. However, a good practice and my recommendation is that you always click on Prepare Data first. This will allow us to check if our data was imported correctly or if we must make some transformations first. Therefore, we click Prepare Data. Since our Excel document has two tabs, we must tell MicroStrategy which of these tabs we want to import. In this exercise, we will first use only the first tab. I select it and then click Select. At the bottom of this window, we find a preview of our data. And on the top, we find a list of our attributes and metrics. The first thing that I want to review are the 4 metrics, because according to my Excel, there were only 3. In the preview, I go to the final part and check the columns in yellow. Obviously, there is a problem. Cost, profit, and revenue columns are correctly classified as metrics. However, the column name Q is also classified as metric, but this should not be the case. This column, despite having numbers in its entries, is indicating the quarter of the table. Therefore, the correct thing to do is to convert the data type of this column to attribute. For this, I can simply right-click on the name and select the Convert to Attribute option. As we can see, now this column has a green color and is with the rest of attributes. Another change I want to make is to create a single attribute from 2 columns. In this table, we have the quarter name column that tells us the quarter of the year, and column Q that has the code for the quarter of the year. Since both columns represent exactly the same thing, I am going to create something called multiform attribute. I select both with Ctrl, I right-click on one of them and select Create Multiform Attribute. I choose a name for the attribute, in this case, quarter, and I check if the attribute forms are correct. In this case, Q is the ID and quarter name the description of my attribute. I click Submit. And now we see that our new quarter attribute has 2 forms. This is quite useful when designing a dossier because it allows you to have more flexibility when presenting the information. Let's do exactly the same with the month and month name attributes. I select both and create a new multiform attribute called month. These are all the changes we are going to make for now. However, if we want to do other type of transformations, we could use the Wrangle tool, but we will see this in other videos. Since our data is ready, let's click on Finish. In our Datasets panel, we will see all the attributes and metrics coming from the Excel document. They are now ready to be added to our visualizations. We're going to change the type of visualization in our dossier by a KPI, so we can quickly explore our 3 metrics in general terms. I click on the 3 dots at the top right of the visualization and select Change Visualization. I choose the second category and click KPI. Now I drag the cost metric into my dossier. As we can see, the format of this metric is not the most appropriate to show what I want to represent. I can change this format by right-clicking on the metric. I select Number Format, Then I click on the currency symbol and click OK. I repeat the same process with the other two metrics, profit and also revenue. Now, I am going to create some copies of my visualization to later add the other two metrics. I click on the three dots at the top right of the visualization and select Duplicate. Now I am going to slide the revenue metric and put it on the top of the cost metric in the editing panel. I repeat the same process to create a third visualization with the metric called profit. Now, suppose we made some changes to our Excel document, or maybe that we updated the data or added new information. If we want to update the Dossier data, we can do so by clicking on the three dots of our dataset and selecting Republish Cube. Click on Upload, search for our Excel document again, and click Open. Then we can choose the action we want to happen. For example, update existing data and add new data. Click Refresh and then Done. And in this way, our data will be updated. Do you remember that our Excel document had two tabs? Well, now let's add the data from the second tab as another dataset. We click on the Add Data symbol and select New Data. We choose File from Disk, choose Files, then we find our Excel document and click Open. We select Prepare Data and this time we choose only the second tab. This table has only two attributes that were correctly classified. For that reason, we just click on Finish. Now, what we want to do is to be able to use the region attribute of the second dataset in the same visualization with the metrics of the first dataset. For this, we have first to create a link between both tables. We do this through the store attribute that both tables share. We right-click on this attribute and select Link to another dataset. Then we click on the arrow, we select the attribute with the same name and click OK. Both datasets are now connected. To check this, I will create a new visualization. We click Add New Visualization and select Grid. I drag this visualization and place it at the bottom of my dossier. Now I add the region attribute. I can drag or double click on it. And I also add my three metrics from the other dataset. As you can see, the connection of both datasets work perfectly. This is all for the video of today. In other videos, we will explore more features of the dossiers in MicroStrategy. For example, how to add data from other sources or how to change the format of our visualizations. Thanks for watching, do not hesitate to subscribe to the channel and see you soon.